Today I'm going to be telling you about assessing phonological processing skills, which is chapter 6 in our book. I was supposed to present this in class with Hannah Wall, but that did not happen. First, we have intervention-oriented assessment. This is acquiring a better understanding of a child's reading difficulty to guide intervention. Whenever you are testing a student, you should test multiple times to see a greater understanding of their skill that they're using and that you're also testing. You should see how they're really doing if you test more than once. Because if you're testing only one time, then that's really only gathering that one test. So you're only going off of one test one time. And what if that child was nervous that one time? So you're really only seeing the side of them testing once. So you'll need to, I agree with testing more than once just to get a better idea of how they're handling it. Next, we have composite scores and subtests. First, we have in intervention-oriented assessment, composite and cluster scores are discouraged. But also, the next line says composite scores have greater reliability. I believe they have greater reliability in this because it's giving you a score of multiple skills that they use. But if you're really only wanting to look at one certain score, then you're only going to need to look at that score and not the composite one. Because if you look at that composite score, then you're going to have a combination of multiple skills, which is a good thing, but also you need to kind of break it down to where you only have one certain skill available to you at a time. The next line is testing multiple subjects. So whenever you're testing, you're going to need to be able to test multiple things, whether that be subjects or skills. And whenever you test multiple skills, it's going to be needed to break down each skill to see that score for each subject that you're testing. Next, we have gaps in assessment research. I'm going to read this bullet point to you. It has yet to be determined which of the phonological tasks is most useful in testing the phonological skills that underlie reading. So in the book, it says that a relationship between phonological and phonemic awareness is learning to read. There are no concrete answers on which task in phonological awareness is most useful. So they haven't found just one certain skill that is part of the phonological and phonemic awareness that can just bullet point that one skill that helps. It helps everything. So you're just going to need to use the whole phonological and phonemic awareness rather than just having that one skill to use. Reinterpreting norms in intervention-oriented assessment. Word level and its underlying skills are not directly correlated with IQ. Then the next line says, low IQ is not equal to poor level reading. So in the book, it says that word level reading skills are correctable, which I believe. And then it has low IQ has a large influence on reading comprehension, but it has nothing to do with word level reading. So if your student has a low IQ level, that means that it has nothing to do with their word level reading skills, but it has everything to do with their reading comprehension. So you'll need to really look at the comprehension that they are getting whenever they're reading. Phonological skills. Phonological awareness should be tested if a student shows signs of word level reading difficulty. This is the number one sign of phonological awareness is their word level reading difficulty. In this part, it also says ideal is equal to manipulation, which requires segment, isolate, and blending. I feel like in this section, we also need to talk about working memory and rapid naming. I know we'll have a cheating slide here later, but cheating and this manipulation, they all fall in line with phonological skills. So whenever you're testing phonological awareness, you're also going to need to test the rapid naming and the working memory, because working memory and rapid naming go hand in hand. With the student that is older, they're going to be able to cheat their way through this test. So you're going to be able to look for these signs and how they're cheating and how they're handling it. Next, we have manipulation task. The first one is deletion is most popular. So in the book it says that deletion is most popular among the teaching part of it, and then substitution is the least common. So they don't like substitution. And then next is segmentation correlates with word reading. Segmenting is the most used in schools, and I believe this is because it's kind of harder for the students to do, so they like to have that available to them. Next, we have poor working memory, which we talked about earlier, and then poor phoneme reversal score. So if they have a poor working memory, then they're going to have a poor phoneme reversal score. While they have a poor phoneme reversal score, they also have poor phonological awareness. So as we can see in this demonstration that we have below, phonological awareness kind of holds everything together. So if there is a child in kindergarten that has these poor working memory or poor deletion, any of that, they need to be involved in the phonological awareness, because it'll help them build that confidence level in them. Next, we have cheat. So in the cheating process, I know we talked about it a few slides ago, but spelling strategy and combat using timed tests. So if you flash a flashcard at a child and they automatically know that can either mean that they actually know it, or that they have had a chance, or they've done this thing a few times and they already have it memorized. So that's kind of where it comes into play. But in the book, it specifically talks about older students doing this, because the older students, they're able to look at this and say, I got this. So the faster that they answer, the greater phonological proficiency they have. But at the same time, they're able to look at that card and they're able to say, hey, I know this, so I'm going to just say it because I already have it down. But what if they actually don't? So you need to really think about this, and you need to really say, does this child actually know this, or are they just able to memorize it? And then next, they have slower after 2 seconds. I know in the book it says students with good phonological awareness generally respond instantly or in less than 1 second or less. And then given the instant responses, such students are likely to have mental spelling, but rather rely on their proficient phonological awareness. Now, if we go down one more paragraph on page 159, it says correct responses longer than 2 seconds are scored as correct. So when a poor reader gets items correct, their responses are typically longer than 2 seconds. So if this poor reader here on the third line, slower after 2 seconds equals developing or struggling, then this possibly means that they are a poor reader. Then the next bullet point says, use orthographically inconsistent words in phonological tasks. So we're going to look at the next line. You're going to delete the duh sound in card to get car. Then we're going to delete the duh in word to get were. So this is just a great thing to do for a student that is struggling to really get an idea of how they're handling it. I also think that whenever you have a student that is able to cheat, we really just need to look at it and say, are they actually knowing this? Or is it just them being able to memorize it? So I think a great way to kind of tell the difference is to be able to use something else rather than a flashcard or something that they've already looked at to kind of throw them a loop. So if you're able to throw them a loop, then you'll see if you can understand it. So thank you for listening, and I hope you enjoyed it.